Hey there, my friend Perry Tinsley here. We're going to talk about a topic today that I know hits home for a lot of us, and it's where constantly we're flooded with this highlight reel of the end result when we're going after our health and fitness. And I really love staying in the mindset, in the visualization of the end result. But sometimes we can take that end result and put a lot of stipulations on it, or our brain likes to mess with us, I guess is what I should say, to where we don't believe that that can actually happen. And so we're going to talk about the importance of taking it one day at a time. And I know when it comes to health and fitness stuff, many of us are, I don't want to say everybody, but many of us we're wanting fast results, and we're wanting things to happen quickly, almost overnight. If we could have the magic wand, we'd reach for that. But I'm going to tell you what, your magic wand is the one day at a time approach, because we're talking about valuing the journey and not being on this, hey, I'm starting this thing, I'm starting this exercise thing, or I'm starting this eating thing to lose some weight or whatever it is, but I can't wait until I'm off of it. And so today we're going to talk about living in that end result, but taking the actions now with the mindset of that end result, and not feeling any overwhelm of the in-between stuff, to where we're constantly peeking at the scoreboard. Am I on track? Am I not on track? Is the scale giving me the feedback I want, etc.? So hopefully you stay with me on this one, and that was a clear description. Before we get into all this great stuff, I do want to welcome you to another Power Blast podcast, where we provide nourishment for the soul, allowing you to transform from the inside out, providing rapid results in mindset. That's a big part of it. And fitness, so that you can recharge that mental and physical battery of yours and reclaim your power. And make sure you head over to talktoperry.com. It's right there in the lower third. That's where my calendar's at. And let's chat, because I want to help you really elevate your energy, help you reach all of your goals, to really give you just a guidance, just a little roadmap or a game plan to where you're going to get the best results from, and what direction you can take. And we just chat 15 minutes. Man, that sounds life-changing for 15 minutes, right? That's over at talktoperry.com. So I'm thinking about this day-to-day thing. Why is it so powerful? I'm going to tell you what. We have to look at what can we control right now. And our brains like to then look at what the external circumstances are going on, worrying about what's next, what's coming, what ifs, and we create these scenarios that really we don't have any control over. But when we just focus on just doing today, just staying in your zone, what can you do today to take charge, to take control, and not give your power away? That can change the picture a bit, and that can also empower you. But I know that sometimes because we get into these stories in our head, we let it debilitate us a bit. And I'm going to tell you what, just doing today, it helps you embrace the journey. And you've got to have this confidence and beliefs that by just doing today, over time, results are going to come. Will they come exactly the way you mapped them out in your head? You've got to say, well, gosh, it could be that or better. And I totally believe, should I embrace each and every day, it's going to happen. Now, I get where we can obsess about the ending. And, it's like a book. You've got a beautiful story, and every chapter builds upon itself. And we don't start reading and just all of a sudden we're worried about what's going to happen at the end. Flip to the end stuff. We want to enjoy the journey as it goes, and it does. It tends to have some twists and turns and things like that with a good story and a good book. But so let's dial it back a little bit to when I really started to shift my mindset when it came to my own health and fitness journey. Many times I was a full-time teacher, and the summers I had off, and I would make these little promises to myself. I'm going to get in shape this summer. And summer after summer, I would just kind of just let lazy habits get in, and I'd never really get started or get going. Or if I did, I wouldn't stick with it very long. Well, year after year after year of doing that, all of a sudden I'm out of shape, I'm overweight, and the overwhelm is happening. I'm frustrated. I'm getting to a chapter in life where I'm starting to tell myself the story. Well, this is just the way life is supposed to be, and it's too late in life for me to get started. And then something popped inside where it was like, what if that's not true? What if you can question that? What if you can use this as a starting point? You you did behaviors to drift so far off course. What would it be like to do the behaviors to get you back on course? Now I get it. When you've drifted so off course, sometimes the current can feel a little bit daunting. But I embraced that, and I decided to say, initially my mind went to, oh, you've always started so many things before. Are you going to stick with it? Is this even going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth your time showing up and doing exercises and eating right? And are you even going to see the results? Or is it just going to be this big waste of time? And I would tell myself these stories. And I'm like, let's stop the stories for now. Let's just stop it and let's just see what happens. So I went on, I tested things out. Now, I usually will test things out for 30 days, but this time I decided to test things out for 90 days. But I took it in 30-day chunks. And I was humbled. I got started in my fitness, and instantly I'm like, you are so out of shape. You are so overweight. And so unmotivated. And I started to pay attention to that thinking. And I'm like, you need to come up with a plan and a strategy for when that thinking comes in so that you still show up anyway. That was different thinking than what I had done, because I'm like, just trust the process one day at a time. Every day might not be pretty. Every day might not be glorious at that end result. But that's what I had in my mind. That end result was, I started thinking, who am I at that end result? What sort of clothes do I wear? What do I feel like and say to myself when I'm walking past the mirror? What sort of foods do I buy? What do I do when I don't want to exercise? Do I still show up for exercise? And so I'm sculpting and creating this end result person, and starting to say, if that's my ideal person, my ideal self that I want to be, I need to start being that now. Otherwise, it remains out in the future. And so, and I probably wasn't using those terms at the time. I've learned some things in recent years by paying attention to the journey. But here I'm going. And so one day at a time. And there would be days when I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like showing up. So I would create these little rituals or these little commitments. On days when you don't feel like showing up, you must commit to at least 15 minutes. You have to show up, because that's the part. In the beginning, developing the habit is more important than seeing the end result. And so while I'm keeping that imagination going in the end result, I've got to take the daily actions, right? And if I start using excuses and procrastinating and let myself off the hook, that then I'm not being that ideal person that I want to be at that end result. You get me? So I started doing that. And wouldn't you know that within the 90 days, I blew my expectations away. Um, I did not know that I would lose that much weight. I would be that in that much shape. In that good a shape. I didn't know I'd be that much stronger. And instead of saying, well, now I did my 90 days, I'm done, I looked at it as what's next, because I kept changing and adjusting the self-image of where I was going. It's like, now that I'm a person who exercises, now that I'm a person who eats relatively healthy, what will that look like when I'm making more conscious choices on healthy eating, when I'm increasing and actually challenging myself with new exercises and workouts, creating an empowerment ritual for my brain every day, so that I'm thinking positive thoughts, that I'm setting goals, I'm using visualization, I'm doing these things. I'm like, who is this person? That's what it was toward the end of 90 days. But I'm like, I'm excited to keep finding out. And so I just kept going. And so I got out of the part where I was using that end result of that visualization of someday maybe. And I wasn't letting that paralyze me anymore. I was letting that unfold my story, paying attention and just showing up and just doing today. I would not have guessed that just doing today, 90 days in a row, I had gotten into a shape where I was 13 years prior. I'm like, oh my gosh, I drifted off course so many years and I was able to flip that in 90 days. Now, that doesn't happen for everybody, but I'm like, if I can do that in 90 days, what else can I do? And I did. I mean, and now this has been a 20-year journey just doing today. So that's why I want to leave you with today, because getting into that journey, it means doing the day-to-day journey. It means you're living in the present, right? And I know it can kind of sound cheesy or cliche and whatever, because I got a lot of things going on, Perry. I've got this big to-do list. I just can't, I can't find the time to do these things. And so when you start shifting your thinking and shifting your priorities and just being in this day, in this moment now, and taking the actions toward that, then there is no worry about tomorrow. There isn't any, you aren't giving your power away to external circumstances, because you're just tapping into what you can control, which is your actions and showing up. And so, and that's why I tell people, hop on my calendar at talktoperry.com, because then we can have a chat about that and we can come up with a game plan and a strategy. And I'll give you 3 strategies you can use right away that will help you with those priorities and help you with that plan. So talktoperry.com is where it's at, because I want to hear your goals, what you're struggling through, because so many of us, we go around life like we're a 6-year-old smartphone with just 2% battery life left, and we're scrambling around looking for that charger. And I want to help you be that charger. I want to help you recharge and reclaim that power of yours. So, and I often ask, how would your life look different if your mental and physical battery is running at 100% every single day instead of 2%, right? You'd be unstoppable. So as we navigate this busyness of the world, it's great to have those goals and dreams. Keep those in the focus. Don't let them paralyze you. Let them fuel you, and then take the daily actions each day in that mindset of who you are at that end result, and start making decisions from, it's like, what would myself at that point do to decide? Would they skip the workout today? Would they decide to just binge on Netflix? Would they decide to say, oh, another cheat meal isn't going to matter anyway? Is that what that person's thinking? Or is that person saying, no, I'm not even making those decisions. My decisions, I'm showing up, I'm doing this, I'm happy, I've got energy. Heck, let's go out for a big walk and all this stuff, or a big hike. So just, every step of the way is a great experience should you decide to embrace it and do that. But just know, you can choose to use your power and take control, or you can let external circumstances, excuses, justifications, defending limitations like I'm not a morning person, or I'm not doing weights, or I'm not doing and you start defending those limitations. You can let all of those things control you and drain your power. It really boils down to, one, deciding and committing to yourself and your goals, and then choosing to figure out new ways, looking at possibilities, shifting your thinking, and learning and growing and keep moving forward, because we're all about growth, right? So you've got this, my friend. I'd love to hear your top takeaway from today. You could drop those down in the comments. I do reply to those. I see you there. Type them in there. And you absolutely rock, my friend. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week. That's another Power Blast podcast in the books. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, when you are ready to recharge your battery, make sure you go to talktoperry.com. That's talktoperry.com. That's Perry. And I want to listen. I want to hear, what's going on. I want to help you in that 15-minute call to recharge your battery and reclaim your power, so that you're off and running and creating massive momentum toward your dream. Also, every day I am delivering more motivation, support, tips, and strategies inside my free community with amazing people like yourself. And we are conquering the mindset and the fitness. I do 52 weeks of free training in there. Plus, I coach and I mentor people, as well as give you access to tons of resources and guides. It's called my Upside Down Fitness Community because we work on a lot of mindset stuff, the inside stuff, and we're a fun group of people striving to make healthier habits in this awesome chapter of life. So make sure you get in there. I promise you'll absolutely love it. Just head over to UpsideDownFit.com and you can get into the group. And hey, you would be an awesome friend if you get over to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave an honest rating and review for the Power Blast podcast. It helps awesome people like you find this show even faster, and that's who I'm looking for, awesome people like you. That's all I have for this week, my friend, and just to let you know, you absolutely rock. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you on the next Power Blast podcast, and always remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.